CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
And a driver had to be extricated from a rolled over pickup on Veterans Memorial Parkway and Pete Road in Langford this afternoon. Lucky for the driver, the crash happened right outside the fire hall. Emergency crews were Johnny on the spot, prying the roof up off the pickup to get the driver out. He was taken to hospital with undetermined injuries. Firefighters say the pickup was broadsided by another vehicle, flipping the truck on its side, trapping the driver. The driver in the second vehicle was also taken to hospital with minor injuries. 3-year-old Alvin Barnett is back home safe tonight after being abducted by his father and taken across the U.S. border. An Amber Alert was issued late yesterday afternoon for the youngster when 39-year-old Robert Barnett whisked his son away to Montana. The alert was canceled this morning after a man contacted authorities saying he befriended the pair near Kalispell, Montana. The man says Robert Barnett approached him at a bowling alley saying he was cold, hungry, and stranded with his son. The man felt bad, gave them money, and told them to park outside his home.
Right before I went to bed, I went onto Facebook, and one of my friends posted something about an Amber Alert. And I tried to click on it, but it just kept going like, error, bad gateway, and I could not get it to go. And then it went, and it just loading, and there was nothing. So I just gave up on it, and I went to bed. So got up the next morning. I get up pretty early to go for a walk, and it was, I'd probably say about 5:30 that I got up. And I got onto Facebook and I was checking some things. I thought, let me go back and check that. And when I did, and it finally, that page opened up and I, saw that information, my heart sunk. Yeah, the car was...
The man looked out his window and saw the father and his son still sleeping outside his home in the morning. He immediately called police. 9 police cruisers arrived. Robert Barnett remains in custody in Montana. He'll be returned to Canada where he could face charges. For the second day in a row, there has been a cougar sighting in Victoria's Fairfield neighborhood. Vic PD was called out to Ross Bay Cemetery just after 3 this afternoon after someone spotted what they thought was a big cat on the prowl. Police are asking you to be on alert when walking in the area with small children or pets. BC Ferry Services is reporting an increase in revenues in their second quarter financial period. In the period ending September 30th, BC Ferry says revenue is up almost $12 million compared to the same period last year. Second quarter results are an improvement over the first quarter of this year when traffic was soft through the first 4 months. BC Ferry says traffic improved noticeably in August and September. A SAANICH man is recovering at home today after he was stabbed near Harriet and Burnside just after 6 last night. Forensic investigators spent hours snapping pictures and combing the area for evidence. SAANICH police say the fight started on Harriet, then moved in front of the 7-Eleven at the corner of Burnside Road, then toward Tillicum Mall. Police have a 44-year-old SAANICH man in custody and say the 2 men involved know each other and both are known to police.
It was right after 6 p.m., so obviously rush hour is still in progress. We had multiple calls of a fight in progress and then quickly got here and determined it was in fact a stabbing. The victim has had multiple stab wounds, however, is currently listed in stable condition. The suspect was apprehended a short time later.
The attacker remains in custody. Charges are pending. The Saanich Police Department is trying to reduce its carbon footprint by getting to the root of the problem. Officers grabbed their shovels and broke ground today to plant trees in the municipality. Police are attempting to help offset greenhouse gas emissions by planting foliage and taxing themselves every time they drive to and from work. Officers plan on keeping track of their carbon score, then donating accordingly to local green projects to help create a healthy balance. Saanich Police hope the idea branches off.
I think one of the things we talk about is the fact that a lot of our shift workers aren't able to mitigate some of their carbon footprint by catching the bus and doing some of the other things that people do. So this is a way that they can tangibly contribute to offsetting that.
Yeah, we're making a difference, and the interesting thing with the departments is that by them taxing themselves for emissions, they're really looking to cut their emissions. We've just replaced the coffee machine because it was 1% of the building's emissions. No one would have thought of that had we not been taxing ourselves.
Police say they are also using 8 hybrid cars to help build a more sustainable future. Royal Canadian Air Force members on Vancouver Island are being recognized for flying overseas in Libya. A special ceremony held today at 19 Wing COMOX for 50 members who took part in Operation Unified Protector. The members received the non-Article 5 NATO medal for supporting a no-fly zone operation above Libya.
First of all, it's quite an undertaking to go overseas, to work on an operation, to do something like enforcement of a United Nations Security Council resolution for people that you don't know, because it's the right thing to do. For us, it was about upholding what we believe are Canadian values: freedom from oppression, the right to live without being oppressed by your own government, and in addition, it was morally correct to ensure that humanitarian aid could get to the living people and that they could remain free from attack from their own government.
The men were overseas between March and October of last year. A piece of land in the harbour city is in for a major facelift under new ownership. The city of Nanaimo has sold a piece of its pie at this corner of Duffer and Crescent and Boundary Avenue. The new owners are submitting a land application to rezone the area for the development of medical offices. The lot was originally intended for transitional housing units, but the city thought it was beneficial to incorporate businesses.
Originally, council had identified the site, and we had put as an initial placeholder, if you will, 70 units of supportive housing for that site. It's a big piece of property, and we felt it could hold that many units. When we got into discussions with the neighborhood, their feedback was they felt that was maybe too many units on one piece of land in one neighborhood. So eventually we agreed that yes, we would take half the units off that site and we'd move those to the property in Uplands Drive and have a second site.
Land developers plan to clear the site in March of next year, and if the city gives the project the green light, construction could begin next summer. CUPE staff at VIU are ramping up for job action, saying they could walk off the job as early as Tuesday. Workers voted in favor of job action last week and have served a 72-hour strike notice. More than 3,000 support staff have been without a contract for 2.5 years and are upset the province refuses to sign off on a new agreement. The union says it doesn't want to disrupt student studies, but may have to if the BC Liberals continue to stall talks.
Our first and primary concern is for our students, and we want to avoid any disruption to our students. We've been working really hard in negotiations. Both parties are committed and working exceptionally hard to get through this so that we can avoid, if possible, any disruption for our students.
Staff at Victoria's Camosun College are also expected to take strike action starting next week.